Cardano, mentioned it last week, keep an eye on it, and we're currently doing well. So let's do a little bit of analysis of what's happening with the price and where we could go next. Hi everyone, welcome to the video, welcome to the channel as well. If you are new, subscribe, hit the bell button, leave a like, and most importantly, say hello. It's nice to see you, so I hope you're good. Now, links below, I've made a new Telegram group, so please do jump in. This is a channel, so I can put my ramblings and rants in there so you can all see them instead of just on Twitter. Obviously, do follow me on Twitter, but ultimately the bigger stuff, the videos, the funny stuff, all the random stuff will go in there as well, just for a bit of banter. So, the video, we're talking about Cardano because, yes, I spoke about it. I said there was going to be a huge announcement come in, and I do feel that it's possible. There seems to be some sort of rambling going on here in terms of price action, as in people know, but we don't know yet, if that makes sense. You know, buy the rumor, sell the news, and there's potentially something, in my opinion, I think going to drop soon, judging by it. But that's all speculation, so don't say, get the shovel, get the salt, take a pinch of it. So, what's happening in mainstream media? This is what I was covering last week, or whatever. You know, when I talk about this, again, I say speculation. Please make sure you understand this, and you know, don't FOMO into this. But what I'm saying is, there may well be a move here. A little birdie tell me that something, you know, February good happening. Gossip is reliable. I look and take all those words with a big pinch of salt, but I also look and think it's coming from the main guy, the main man, the main man who is in charge of this project. So what does that mean? Well, it means something's going to drop, isn't it? Let's be honest, we know. And that is what's given us those kind of ramblings. And we're seeing here African markets have, you know, been mentioned. Fortune 500 company needs tools to get You know, if we're talking Fortune 500 company in partnership relations with Cardano, who knows what could happen? We just don't know what could happen with this sort of information. So what's happened recently over the last few hours, or 13 hours essentially, is we've had a big price rise, quite a big severe one. And when we look at the chart, and you'll see this, it's kind of been coming. That, in my opinion, I've been covering it for the last few weeks now, that it's undervalued in the BTC pair. Once that breaks out, BTC stays stable, it's going to start catching up with what Bitcoin is doing, therefore leading it to being around 41 cents as it is now, which I mentioned not too long ago that it would potentially become here, maybe even higher. I honestly do think it's going to be over $1 at some point, because I think that's how much I rate it as potential. It's got a long way to go. Even still, when you think of the development, it's been quite a slow grind. We all know that. But as a long-term investment, as a top asset, in my opinion, Cardano is definitely one, I feel, that should be, you know, respected and looked at. But when you start looking now, news, all the big websites, FX Street's also covering crypto at the moment quite aggressively. And again, we've got another one here, another 30% upswing as a critical supply barrier. It's been breached, it's been swung out. And that's the thing, we're now talking potential next level moves here. So even though this is USD pairs, there's a lot of bullish sentiment right now. When we start talking about bullish sentiment and when we start thinking buy the rumor, sell the news, well, you got to look at Google Trends. You got to look at how many addresses have been created. You got to look at social sentiment. People talking about it, people getting ravey about it, buzzing. Me doing a video on it is obviously because I know it's going to do well, because people want to know this information. They're requesting this sort of information. What's happening with Cardano? Oh, go bang. You know, that's the thing. So let's talk about it in obvious speak. But as I mentioned before, in terms of top asset, what I mean by that is, and just not to confuse people, it's ranked number 6 for a reason. It's 12 billion, nearly 13 billion. It's out up there with Polkadot. I honestly believe that Polkadot and Cardano will bridge that gap to Ethereum. I've always said that, I've always maintained that for a long time. No matter how much you hold, you will probably find that those two will probably get a few more multiples versus Ethereum, because Ethereum is already 162 billion. So you've got to think that time in the market for Ethereum is going to pay dividends, right? The likes of Polkadot and Cardano, even the likes of other ecosystems, they will eventually, gradually, you know, people will probably may want to sell their Ethereum. They may think that, oh, it's run its race, I've been holding this for such a long time now, I want to back something else, I want to back something a bit more new, maybe that could make more money. You got to think that dynamic. And I think Cardano, for me, personal opinion, I think it will bridge a bit more of that gap. As I say, 13 billion market cap. What's to say 24? Double its price. What to say maybe over 50 billion? Who knows? But as an ecosystem, can't really go wrong. Anyways, we'll start off with the BTC chart first because we've hit a key level. This is a 618 retracement. If I go to the weekly time frame, just to make this kind of obvious, I'll try and explain this so new people can understand. So, by the way, Fibonacci, the best indicator on the planet. Simple as that. If you want to learn more, link below, go to Learn Crypto, check it out, you'll learn a lot. So we've had it's only 2 days, let's put it that way, 2 days candleage of a very, very strong weekly candle. If I zoom in, we can make a bit more sense of it. So when we start looking at this, very, very strong. And we've had even this candle here being red, it's quite bullish because it's pulled right the way back up and it's found a level of support in and around this region. So we're looking at 1179 Satoshis as a breach, and we've breached it. Obviously this candle needs to close, it needs to maintain above this level, but this is a level of resistance which could become critical support for the next leg up. I've often said this in videos, and I said it not too long ago, Cardano is a little bit undervalued in the BTC pair where it's been in the past. When you add developments and news and information around the fundamentals that are going to get developed and released over time, it's going to create that spice, that little level of engagement through the community to buy it, to promote it, to share it, get excited about it, right? When you start adding the fact of utility and the use case of the token, essentially the Cardano token, you're going to get even more action as well. So when you start thinking without any speculation, and it was just a project, we're here, right? We've dumped because, well, most of the market in this pair, this is a BTC pair, dumped because Bitcoin went rampant, right? So now we're starting to pull that back, but it's looking strong. It's looking very, very strong. 3-day chart looking very, very strong. It's a perfect trend, and we're looking very, very nice right now, which is always good to see. But the 4-hour time frame, 1, 2, 3 levels of support has already been found at this region. It's looking pretty strong. So if Bitcoin behaves itself, it may well continue going to the upside. So when we start looking at upside targets here, I do honestly believe that we are going to start looking and retesting this high level from April 2019. That's a potential Fibonacci extension. However, what I will say is this is still a downtrend. I know. So long-term downtrend, when you start thinking, look at high, lower high, lower high, lower high, right? So it's important to kind of get that bearing right. We need to test this level first. 1600 Satoshi level, 1600 Satoshis. Get beyond that, we start to look at breaking structure, and then we may well find it may go even higher, but that depends on how dominant this will be, what releases are coming out. That's the obvious thing. When we start looking at bigger targets, we may well be looking at these July 2018 levels, which realistically, monster moves, by the way. We're talking a good 92% here. It's a big move in Satoshis. People may not think that's a big move, but if your balance is in Satoshis and that 92% and you've got 1 BTC, it's 0.92 BTC profit. Simple. So that's that side of it. Let's have a little look though at the USD chart. Again, looking strong, looking incredible. It's had a very, very good start of the year. It's had a very, very good start to this month as well, obviously. But the fundamentals are key here. We've found a level of support in and around this region from this pullback, which is always important. So if we go to the lower time frame, you'll see this. As you can see, we've had a nice pullback. Even if we're looking at this level here at the starting point and going into here, we've found a nice little level in and around this 382 region just once. One little nice little tap. But there's multiple places where you can put the Fibonacci on here. Probably that one was the most obvious, in my opinion, when you start looking at the overall start of the trend. Where did we go? Well, we pulled right the way back, and now we've found a level, and off we go. You could probably argue in the past here. You look at this region here, and you're thinking, well, what happened here? We went all the way in, and we continue going up. There was pullbacks. There was a lot of pullbacks in and around this region, so you've got to be careful with all this. When you start looking overall at the bigger picture, and you think, well, starting point from here, and where this pulled back to, you got it here as well, where this is pulled back very, very nicely in and around this region, and this is where this chart has been drawn up. It makes it much more clearer, but it's been multiple taps in and around this region. Well, obviously the one level, but multiple areas in and around here as well, which has actually formed a bullish divergence on the daily, which is kind of important. So in terms of this was actually going down, this was going up, you know, a nice little hidden divergence there, which has kind of sprung it quite nicely. So just keep your eye on these divergences in and around certain areas, but I still think this has got a long way to go. I think we're going to start seeing a push to the upside, and when we start looking overall at the grand scheme of things here, we've got levels up here. We've got nice little levels up here. Obviously this is a Tether chart, we don't have much data on the Binance chart, but 48 cents could be a potential target, which has been mentioned in that article, and then we've got 60 cents at the bigger upswing level. But Bitcoin needs to behave or carry on going up, or ultimately for me, look at the BTC pair. If Cardano stays, that continues that growth on the BTC pair, and Bitcoin behaves itself, we may well find that this will go up anyways and regardless. But when we look at the overall swing here, it's a pretty decent move, and that's a big move. And we've retraced, now we're off to the upside. So somewhat exciting. It's definitely a level to keep an eye on for me. I'll probably just plonk something there just to keep an eye on it. But overall, when we start thinking structure, we're thinking levels, and we're thinking daily supports and stuff like that, when you consider the fact of what this did in and around this region, just to kind of put that point there, when we start thinking, well, what can this do? Well, a level of support was found, and yeah, it's quick. 23% level is a pretty meaty level to get, to be used as a level of support in and around that region's liquidity. The more aggressive moves, the quicker things tend to react, and that 23% retracement, even though it went a bit further, it went down 30% as a wick. Nice liquidity grab, went for another buy, and then off we go. So definitely interesting in my opinion. If this continues, February will be a very, very good month for Cardano holders. So if you enjoyed the video, let me know, subscribe, hit the bell button, like, and yeah, don't FOMO, but it's looking quite good, looking healthy.